Welcome to another edition of What's the Big Idea, where we hear big ideas from the leading voices shaping current and emerging best practices in the professional and nonprofit world. I'm your host, Hank Boyer, CEO and founder of the Boyer Management Group. Today, we're speaking with Hannah Morgan, who is founder and chief strategist of Career Sherpa. She's an author, speaker, trainer of all things related to job search and career success. Hannah, welcome to What's the Big Idea. Tell us a little bit about Career Sherpa.
Thank you, Hank, so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here. I started CareerSherpa.net as a way to provide actionable, helpful, practical job search advice for people who were in job search. Because at that point in time when I started the business, there weren't a lot of resources available.
And so was founding a company on giving career advice on your mind when you graduated college with a degree in humanities?
Thanks for bringing that up. Absolutely not. I actually thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So after I graduated from college, I worked for a law firm, and that was not for me. So I did several other things and ultimately worked for a human resources for a company where we hired a lot of people in a very short amount of time, and I got tired and sort of burned out. And that's when I discovered the world of outplacement services. A company invited me to interview for a position they had. And so after I fell in love with that, I looked for other opportunities to do that outside of outplacement, work for a college career center, as well as a workforce investment development group, and fell in love with it and haven't left.
And so did you decide to leave the business world or corporate world and start your firm, or how did the founding of the organization come about?
So I was sort of mid-career, and I was feeling a little ambitious, and I was getting sort of frustrated that I couldn't do things the way I wanted to do them inside the company where I was working. I also was being invited to speak outside of the organization to people, and I needed to have my own content and my own ideas and my own identity. So that is actually what launched me to start Career Sherpa on the side.
So in giving advice to other people that are thinking about starting a business, is there a particular or magical time of life or career when that should happen?
I think part of this is that you either have the entrepreneurial DNA, or you grow that later in your career. For me, it happened mid-career, but I think some people actually it happens earlier, and for other people it happens later. But I think that having that work experience and being in the experience working for different companies gave me a foundation of knowledge and credibility to help me start my own business for me at that point in time.
So how should somebody go about getting started in taking that idea that they have for a business, a side business? How do they go about getting started with that and establishing that second path?
So if they realize it's going to be something they're doing on the side, it has to be something that they're willing to sacrifice time to do. So there has to be that interest or passion, because you'll end up giving up time with family and friends and some other things to start that. The other thing that I think is important for people to realize is that that having a body of knowledge and interest in that thing that you're going to be starting on the side is also something that is important.
So that passion, the identification with what you're doing, and I'm hearing from your voice and watching, this is something you care about. This is like a child.
It is, and I won't say that. I mean, that obviously helps, but I think having a body of knowledge and testing your ideas before starting that side business is really important, and that's why, for me, having the knowledge of the industry and learning every day more about what's going on and testing the ideas with other people in other industries is such an important thing to do. Collaborating is really a wonderful idea.
Today, you are a nationally syndicated columnist for U.S. News and World Report. You're in demand as a speaker everywhere. And you have, get this, over 300,000 followers on LinkedIn. I mean, how did the national identity, the national brand happen so quickly for you?
Well, first of all, it wasn't necessarily quick. But second of all, I think part of it was luck and part of it was strategy. I partnered early with people who were in the careers profession, people who were probably a little bit ahead of me and more established in their career. And we worked really well together to support one another, share ideas, and promote one another. The other thing was being strategic about who I was, where I was presenting my ideas and what I was saying. But the other part of it was luck. I was, giving away free advice. I was talking about filling a huge void. There weren't a lot of people providing this information. And so I fulfilled that need, and I was honest and never sold. I was giving information away because I knew there was a need. And over time, that has turned around a little bit. I still provide great information, but there are services that I will charge for.
So what is your advice to people that already have a side business that they're happy doing in addition to their regular daytime job? What's your advice for them as they think about transitioning and making that side business their full-time occupation? What would you say to them?
Yeah, that's a great question, because for me, it was about time. I didn't have enough time to do my full-time job and the requirements of the side job that I was doing. I was being asked to speak and I was taking on private clients. And so I couldn't do both. So it was a time, and for other people, it might be money. If your side gig is generating more income that can replace your full-time gig, then that might make more sense too. I think it's different for everybody, but those are some of the factors that led me to break out and do it on my own full-time.
And we're speaking with Hannah Morgan, who is founder and chief strategist of Career Sherpa, here on What's the Big Idea. Hannah, what's the big idea that you would like your viewers to take away from our discussion today?
I hope that people give more consideration to having multiple streams of income rather than putting all of their faith and hope and financial security into one job. Starting a side business is a wonderful way to have a better security with their career.
And what's the website where people can learn more about what you do at Career Sherpa?
It is careersherpa.net.
Give that to us one more time.
careersherpa.net.
I'd like to thank Hannah Morgan for joining us today here on What's the Big Idea, sharing her thoughts about starting a business, growing a business, making today's show both educational and entertaining. And I'd like to thank our viewers, of course, for watching. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show. For What's the Big Idea, I'm your host, Hank Boyer, reminding you to take the big ideas that you've learned today, put them to use, and make a difference. Goodbye, folks. Until next time.